Greetings viewers, welcome back to my channel. So, Women of Wisdom Weekly. Today we're going to have a look at back-to-back talks. So let us start by saying there are times when a marriage is not entirely 100% blissful, if we're honest with ourselves. And so it becomes a dilemma. How do you deal with this? Because we've all grown up with this boy meets girl, falls in love, and they live happily ever after like there are no problems. Well, first of all, let's dismiss the myth. Wherever two people come together in a close-knit relationship, and there are responsibilities divided and shared, there will always be conflict of some form or another, disagreement. There will be times when the wife is not falling lovingly into the husband's arms. And there are times if she feels like falling lovingly into the husband's arms, he's not there or he doesn't catch her. So let's unravel all this and take a look at what we can understand and what we can do about it. All right. I mentioned earlier about let's talk about back-to-back. So this is back-to-back discussions, literally. I mean, like the female is facing this way and the male is sitting back to back here. So your backs are together. You can turn your heads or you can look straight ahead. But you are certainly not going to have this discussion face to face. In fact, there are always difficulties when people have to discuss things that are a little raw or itchy or stressful when we make these discussions face to face. I'll tell you why. Because you spend too much time trying to analyse the face of your opponent in some cases. And there are too many mixed images and feelings going on that absolutely drown out the essence of what the coming together and the discussion is about. Very, very early in motherhood, I learned, and I had 3 little boys, that 3 little boys don't agree always on everything. And so there goes through a time in early motherhood when you are continually separating little boys. He wants that toy, so does the other one, etc. So I had to develop a way to minimize conflict resolution. In fact, I was going to try and make them responsible for mending conflict or resolving conflict they had over, be it a toy or the last jelly bean in the bag or whatever it was going to be. Mind you, I was lucky. I didn't have too many problems. The oldest usually gave way to the youngest. So in my early motherhood, I developed a way to resolve all these issues, and that was to have each offending boy, 2 of them, I had 3 boys, but there'd usually be something between 2 of them. They had to sit on their chairs back to back. So put the backs of the chair here. They'd sit with their backs pressed up against that. And then they had to look towards the wall, and the other one did the same. So there was no facial contact, no body language expression, no nothing. Back to back. And that is how they would resolve their conflict. Peaceably and usually long term. But there had to be some homework done before the actual back-to-back resolution took place. So let us just get into that now, and we'll look at it as I'll talk you through this on an adult husband to wife situation, but it applies equally to how I constructed this manner of conflict resolution with my sons. But we'll now talk about it on an adult scale between a husband and wife. So, remember I said there had to be preparation to take place before you actually sat down back to back in a neutral area. So let's begin. So there is something that's not keeping the bliss in the marriage. The marriage is very blunt at the moment. It results in just, like instructions, directions, or requests through gritted teeth. So here's what we're going to do. Both parties have to agree to this. Neither party needs to be felt under threat. So there's a bit of background work. So this discussion we're going to have is part of resolving some differences or issues or potential issues that might arise. So let's talk about that. We have conflict, there's disagreement, rocky paths, he said, she said, no, I didn't say, yes, you did say, this sort of thing. So before, you want to get to this before bitterness and resentment start to implant within each of you and within the institute of that marriage that you are partners in. So, I want you to try this. Arrange a time to sit down calmly, without interruptions preferably, and sit back to back, where you not seeing each other's faces, back to back, and have a meaningful, worthwhile, short talk. Now, you're going to arrange this in advance, and also you're going to prepare for this. So you've got homework to do to prepare for this presentation that you're going to give to your partner. So let's talk about the wife. So how are you going to do this? Well, first of all, I had to make some notes for myself here, incidentally. You are going to arrange the time. Then you are going to have to set a date, time, so setting the scene. And you need to negotiate that with the spouse, of course. Now, you need also to write on a piece of paper some subheadings for yourself and advise your spouse to do the same. But you limit those things. So you're not going to have a list of 6 times in a row you forgot to take the garbage out. You didn't, no, we're not doing that. That's setting yourself up for failure immediately. So here we go. You're going to calm and in a soft voice, each of you stick to your topic and your script. You have both prepared this in advance, and you are going to limit those topics to 1 to 2, no more than 3. Definitely no more than 3. 1 to 2 is ideal. And you're going to set the scene. As I said, the date, the time, the place needs to be not in the bedroom. Needs to be in a neutral area. So it could be on the back patio. It could be outside in the garden. It could be going for a walk somewhere and you sit on a bench back to back. It's you know best where that time and place should be, or venue. So you've already prepared your subheadings of what you're going to talk about. So let's go through this now. I've sort of prepared a pretend list here. So I'm going to start off sitting nice and calmly, and I'm going to set the scene and say, I'm going to first of all describe what I love or like about you. And this list, these subheadings, you both share. So he has a copy of them. You have a copy of only the subheadings. What each of you have to fill in underneath that. So the subheadings are, I'll read them off first. Perhaps that might be best. What I love and like about you. What I struggle with. How can you help me with this struggle? And then you turn your attention to your spouse and say, what do you struggle most with? How can I assist or help you with this? So we'll come back to that in a minute. So now I'm going to start off as the wife. It's the female starts first. And there's a reason why the female starts first. Because males sometimes struggle to get those first words out, or they get a, I don't know how long this is going to take, Males look at, this could be done in 2 seconds, face to face, no different to driving a nail into a piece of timber. But women, no, I have to make sure the nail is shiny. Is that the piece of wood I want? I'm not sure I liked that hammer. I'd like a different weighted hammer. Now, do I really want to put that nail into that spot? Mate, I'm just going to get a biro and mark a spot there. Are you getting the picture? Okay. Because once the female's made the decision about where the nail goes, it's most likely never going to come out or come loose, because she'll give it 2 or 3 extra bangs just to make sure it stays in there. Okay, so here is what the woman starts off with. What I love and like about you. This is the subheading. So here are some examples. These are just my examples I'm giving you for an idea. You always hold the door open for me. I like it when you hold my hand when we're out sometimes. I really, really like it when you whisper to me. I like it when you whisper pretty things to me. Even though you're back to back, you can still have some body language. You can still turn the head and lean maybe back like that. Touch the back of each other's head with your heads, not with a fist. You can say, I really like it when you share homework time with the children. I find that's really good. And do that going to bed stuff with the kids on those 3 nights a week. I really appreciate that. And you could add things like, I never need to worry about such and such. I never need to worry about when the dog's due for its immunisation, because you always keep track of that. I never need to worry about when the car's due for a service, because you take care of that. I never need to worry about, etc. Okay? So there's some examples. Now you've described all those things and started off on a very positive note, because we don't want conflict. We don't want, that's why we're sitting back to back. Because you don't want to be saying this and having your husband going, and vice versa. He doesn't want to, when it's his turn to speak, he doesn't want to be watching you going, oh, really? Oh. We don't want any of that. Now, what's the next thing in this subheading? What I struggle with. Now, this is where you will say what you struggle with, which could, and again, I'm giving you examples. This could be, I really struggle with when you say you're going to pick up the kids and then you forget. And I get a panic call, to pick the kids up. I struggle with that. It could be something like, I struggle with it when you forget to take the garbage out. I struggle with it when you've said you'll bath the dog and 2 days later he's still not bathed. I struggle with it when you say you'll pick the kids up from soccer and you don't. you know, I then have to change my plans and go and pick them up. Now, this is just a few things. And you just say I struggle with. And then you can say because I'm flustered, I get, you know, nervous, I get momentarily angry over it. And then it festers and and I blurt things out and I get angry, and I don't like that. I don't want to get angry over things like that. Then you can go on to the next subheading, which is how you can help me. So this is the female still speaking. How can you can help me? You can, if you would be a great help to me by agreeing that every second Saturday you will pick the children up from soccer after their games. Every week you will make sure that the children have attended to all their designated tasks. Will you tick off their list of duties that they have to do? Will you check up that they've exercised the dog, that they've brushed the cat, that they've cleaned the bird cage out, that the budgie's got water? Can you check that they've done those things? You're not asking him to do them. You're asking him to check and he will go and check up on them. That voice of male authority. Have you cleaned the budgie's cage? You promised your mother you'd do that, or you promised me you would do that. Okay, so that's that. Then you go on and you say now, so you haven't dwelt too much. Don't try and relate to your spouse back to back every tiny detail of every minor misdemeanor he has committed since the moment you joined as husband and wife. Don't go there. It is not good. It is not required. You just stick with a very short list. So far, we've done what I love or like about you. I really love it when you whisper pretty things in my ear. Then what I struggle with, I really get frustrated with myself. You don't blame him. You are saying, when I've got to sort of race then and pick the kids up when I didn't think I had to, I get into panic. I get cross with myself. It upsets me. And how you can help me. Now, it's not by saying, remembering to take the garbage out. Take your turn at bathing the dog or whatever like that. You're going to say, how you can help me is by agreeing to. Let's agree that we'll take turns every second week of picking the kids up from soccer. We'll mark it on the calendar. Soccer, dad. Next week, soccer, pick up mum, etc. And then you're going to say, change the tone and the topic from you to your husband, what you can do for him. You're going to ask him, what do you struggle most with in our marriage, in our relationship? What do you struggle most with? Do you have problems like I have described? And also, how can I assist or help you with this? So it's not all about you, it is about us. I struggle with things, you struggle with things. Are these struggles something we can rectify very easily and assist each other? Can we do this as a team? So we're still back to back. We're not glaring at each other like this. So we've reached this stage. Hopefully you have reached this stage without one of you storming from the room, because it's very important to moderate your voice and your content. Keep it simple and short, and keep your voice calm and soft. You're both there in earshot. You've got nearly ear to ear. So you don't need to be yelling or raising your voices. Now we get down to, okay, what now? So we've gone through our pre-scripted, subheadings. We've both had our chance. The husband has responded. Because if you go first, the woman, you're sort of setting the scene. You've got more opportunity to keep a calm, non-threatening atmosphere. And so by the time you've gone through your things, he then is sort of, oh, okay, so we're not going to be yelling and spitting at each other. So he's more relaxed and assured that you are going to give him the same airspace and confidence to speak. So now, how can we agree to be a team on these two main points? That's where the point you're coming to now. Now, what I suggest this time now is you let the husband lead here and say, okay, so what can we agree on? Two main points. We're only going to concentrate on two main points here, and that is going to be one for the man and one for the woman. The thing that the woman wants is most important to her, and the thing that is most important to the man. So number one, you're going to suggest the husband goes first. Now, so what main point can we work at together, and can I help you with, and can I assist you with? And then it's your turn. After you come to that, then you say what the main point that you want to come out of this meeting, this conversation is such and such, and can you help me with that? So let's go back to maybe, you forget to pick the kids up from soccer or something like that, and say, can you please give me fair warning if something unforeseen happens and I have to pick the kids up, or so that I don't get frustrated, I don't get cross, I don't get agitated, and that my plans, aren't always being disrupted, sort of thing. So help me not struggle with that. Then you're going to say something like, for us to be proactive, to improve the outcomes for both of us, we need to keep in mind what has taken place now. Now, make sure this back-to-back discussion doesn't go on for 4 hours. It's a short, in-out type of, it's a little power talk. Short, 5 minutes even is probably long enough. 10, if you get past 10, you're going to both you're going to lose your patience perhaps with one another. So, we know that it needs to be 50-50, give and take. And, we can look back on things and think, I wish I hadn't said or done that. But we can be too proud to go back and say to the spouse, I'm sorry. But here is a good place to start. That's sitting back to back. And when you've both had your say, put forward your concerns, ask for assistance, as well as offering to assist the other party, I suggest as the woman that, let's face it, let's just be honest. Women are a little bit more demonstrative than men. So when you've come to this conclusion that you're going to help each other with this struggle you both share sometimes, I think it's a good idea for the woman to take a good deep breath. Feels great. And lean your head back on his. Maybe lean your head backwards on his shoulder. And suggest he whisper something pretty in your ear. And on that note, I will leave you to think about this. I'll be anxious to hear how it's worked out for you. I hope you never have to use this back-to-back conflict resolution or agenda. But it is amazing how many people do have issues. They want to discuss it, and all it ends up 2 minutes into the sit down part, they're one another like this, and it ends up one runs off in tears, the other says, oh, what's the use of talking to you? This always happens. You always say this, you always say that. So ladies, you need to change the direction. You need to think back again about what I've said. Re-watch this video, pause and stop it, make yourself some notes where it says, you know, what am I anxious about? What bothers me? Things like that. And try it. Back to back, chairs back to back. Most importantly, you start first as a woman by saying what you like or love or appreciate most about your husband, your spouse. That's most important, because they need to know that you're coming from a place of love and understanding. And certainly at the end, when you close, you need to put your head back on his shoulder, back to back, and ask him to whisper something pretty in your ear. So on that note, ladies, I hope this method works for you. It's not a scientific method. It's not been devised by social scientists or anything like that. It's just a way of being neutral. Back to back puts you in neutral places, each of you. Because even if one of you does feel bitten a bit when the spouse says something, and you might go, I can't see the expression, or yeah, I hopefully can't hear the expression either. So it puts you on neutral, non-threatening area. Please take care, my dears. I so enjoy being with you. I love our Women of Wisdom Weekly. I do hope it has helped you this week. Please take care, and God bless.